Shalom, shalom. Welcome to our series, the second segment of our series, Intentional Parenting. I am Counselor Megan Hylton, an associate counseling psychologist and parent coach, and author of the book Directing Your Arrows, a strategic approach to successful parenting. The last time we were on, I basically laid a foundation for the series that we're doing. And we looked at 5 points as we laid that foundation. And I just want to recap those before we go into this week's topic. So we looked at 5 points that have to do with intentional parenting. We said, number one, that our children are gifts from God. We as parents are stewards. We are called to manage the children that God has given us. We said that parenting is a journey, and I challenged you to enjoy the journey, right? We also said that parenting is a calling, and that as parents, we need to know what hindrances are in our lives that could stop us from fully embracing that call. And then finally, we looked at the power of affirmation. We discussed our self talk. How do we talk to ourselves as parents? And I remember I challenged you to be very deliberate about affirming yourself as a parent. So this week, we're going to go a little deeper, right? And I want to start off with two thoughts. And I want you to think about these thoughts as I say them. First one is to be in your children's memories tomorrow, you have to be in their lives today. To be in your children's memories tomorrow, you have to be in their lives today. And the second thought I'll share is correction without connection equals rebellion. Correction without connection equals rebellion. So what are we talking about this week? I'm talking about the power of connection, all right? The importance of having a very deep connection with your child. And I'm going to be pulling quite a few nuggets from chapter 5 of my book this week as we look at what it means to connect with your child and why this is important as you develop yourself as an intentional parent. So I want to put a scenario to you today. I've met several persons in my short life so far. I've met several persons who would have said, I really, yeah, I had a mommy or I had a daddy, but we really didn't connect. They were just there, right? I'm thankful though. I'm thankful that I grew with both parents, and so I was able to connect with both. Yes, may have had a deeper connection with one over the other, but again, life is a journey. So some of what I'm sharing is connected to my own journey and what I've seen from persons I've interacted with. So let us create a scenario here of a little girl called Casey. At 15 years old, Casey's mother returned from overseas. Casey had been left with relatives at just 6 months old because her mother was in search of what we call greener pastures. So Casey was cared for by relatives at various homes. She had experienced emotional and verbal abuse. And basically, Casey had learned to survive on her own. All this time, she She had made her own conclusions about life and had learned how to keep her head above the water even when times got rough. Now, at 15 years old, mommy shows up excited about being back with her child, looking forward to having a great relationship. And needless to say, Casey will have none of it. She's not interested. She seems closed. She's rebelling. She doesn't listen to her mother's instructions. Basically, even trips to the mall and taking her for ice cream and doing all those other things. At that point, Casey was very cold and distant. Mommy doesn't know what else to do. Is she too late? Casey wasn't sure either, because in her heart she was afraid if she let this stranger in, if she allowed herself to bond, would she leave her again? I share that scenario because I want us to understand just how important it is for parents and children to connect. And when you hear me speak about connecting, I'm talking about an emotional bond between parent and child. Now, you may be listening, I may be saying, Counsellor Megan, it is natural. I mean, it's my child, so I'm naturally going to be connected. Can I tell you that's not necessarily so? Sometimes we have our own mental barriers. If you weren't ready, if you feel like you weren't ready for parenting, for parenthood, if you feel like uh, you don't have the ability to do this, if there are unresolved issues with the other parent of the child, then maybe you're really not bonding. If you didn't want to be pregnant, is it that you rejected the pregnancy but decided to carry on anyway? And on the flip side, you may be connected or feel like you're connected to your child, but the child is not responding to you. So is there really a connection when it is one-sided? I don't think so. So let me say some more on that. As parents, remember, we are managers, we are the stewards, and so we have to take the responsibility of trying to build this connection with the child. All right? I have here everything you accomplish as a child rests on the, as a parent, sorry, rests on the strength of the relationship you have built over time with your child. Connecting with your child is filling up his or her love cup, maintaining a strong connection with him or her as they grow through the different stages of life takes much effort, but it is worth it. Now we understand that the scientists and the psychologists say that connection between parent and child starts from as early as in utero or from the womb. So the child begins to be connected to mommy. If daddy talks to that baby regularly, there's also a connection happening there from the womb. And then at birth, there's a significant bonding point immediately after birth. And that is why many mothers can recall just after giving birth to their child, the doctor sometimes will place the baby on mommy's chest. That moment there is critical. That first moment when mommy and baby connect, or when daddy and baby connect, that does something to the brain, to the wiring of the brain of the parent in terms of opening up and accepting that this is a part of me. All right. So when we talk about connecting or bonding, it's actually an emotional attachment between parent and child that ideally starts in the early stages of a child's life and can be maintained and improved on throughout the child's development. So we know it starts early, but we can't just leave it there like that and say, oh yeah, I used to love her as a baby. Um, Connection is something that has to be maintained over time. So just like with Casey, at as a baby, no doubt, mommy was connected to Casey. Casey would have been fed by mommy. There was something going on there, but then mommy left, and mommy did not maintain that uh, connection. Because yes, you might be distant, but there are ways that you can keep yourself bonded with your child. Now, Casey's mommy didn't do that, and so almost 15 years later, she shows up and she basically just wants Casey to open up and take her in. Usually, that does not happen. So today's talk is about how we connect, and you're going to get 7 tips. We are using the word connect as an acronym. So I'm going to go quickly through them. The first one, C. The C in connect is that you should create. I want you to hear that word. Create the time to be with your child. Children spell love like this. Time. And that's a quote that's by John Crudell, but I found it to be true. So you can give your child all the material things in the world, but if you don't have time, if you don't make the time, create the time to spend with them, they still come to the conclusion that you don't care and the connection won't happen. Now, who is the best person for us to look to for an example? Our Heavenly Father, when He created Adam and Eve and placed them in the Garden of Eden, He would come down in the cool of the day to fellowship with His children. He would come down in the cool of the day. It was something that Adam and Eve knew would happen daily. They looked forward to it, and obviously the Heavenly Father looked forward to it too. He was intentional about it. I'm saying to us as parents, quality time is a foundational block to connecting with your child. You have to be intentional about it. You have to value it and protect it. If you need to schedule it, schedule it. And some of you are saying, Counsellor Megan, I don't have a lot of time. You make time for what is important. And it's not so much about the quantity of the time, but the quality of the time. So you may not be someone who can give 1 hour per day to your child, but if you can give 15 minutes, make that 15 minutes worth it. All right? Put away all the distractions and connect with your child. Sit and spend time with them. All right? Now, what does this do for them? They begin to feel that or know that they are of value to you. Now, the O in connect is openness. Openness. Question I have for you. Does your child really know you? Or are you trapped in the mask of being the perfect mother, the perfect father, the superhero mom, superhero dad who doesn't cry over anything, doesn't worry about anything? Everything is perfect. Does your child really know you? We have to be real with our children. For them to connect with us, they need to see a real person. They need to see genuineness. Children are attracted to genuineness. Okay? So sometimes you can be vulnerable, if you're feeling sad, you can tell the child that you're sad. Maybe you're not able to say exactly what it is, but yes, sometimes you can. If you're overwhelmed, you're tired, be open. Let them see a real person. But I want to say, when you express those emotions, express it responsibly. Your child is not your counselor. All right? Now, N, we have 2 N's in connect. The first N I have is nurture. Nurture. When you hear nurture, you hear care, attention. So nurture is important. What kind of environment is your child growing in? What is her mind or his mind and spirit being fed with? What kind of seeds are being sown in their life? Psychologists have concluded that we are a product of both nature and nurture. In other words, we inherit some of who we are genetically from our parents and ancestors, and we absorb some of who we are from the social environment in which we grow. So, the person you are today is a combination of what you got genetically from your parents and what you picked up environmentally throughout your life. And so, as parents, we must be strategic in creating an atmosphere in the home that will nurture the child properly. Last week, we spoke about the many things that are coming against their destiny. And so, we have to be deliberate in creating an environment that will position them for purpose. Deuteronomy 6:7, God commanded the Israelites to diligently teach their children his commands, to speak about them at the dining table, to write them on their doorposts and even on their foreheads. The word and principles of God were to be given top priority. If we are going to be intentional parents, we have to be intentional about what our children are taking in. Nurture them too by being sensitive to their needs and emotions. Handle your arrows. When I say arrows, I'm talking about your children with care. They have feelings too. And if they receive constant harsh words and cruel treatment and feedback, they are going to come to one of two conclusions, in my opinion. The first conclusion is that they are going to believe that it is the norm for them to be treated that way, and they are going to start treating others the same way. The second erroneous conclusion they may come up with is that they may conclude that you do not care. No, we're talking about connection, people. And if your child feels that you don't care for them, it is literally impossible for them to feel connected to you. All right. So we're going to go now quickly to the last four. The other N is never stop playing and laughing. Do I mean that every day you're going to get up and be laughing and playing and going all over the place? No. What I'm saying is that there must be a time and a place for humor. The child must have seen you being humorous, playing with them, having fun with them. Proverbs 17:22 says, a merry heart does good like medicine. Play and humor are powerful bonding tools. You can play with your children randomly, or you can plan a playtime each week. Just allow yourself to dare I say, be a child again. All right? And connect with them. If there are many, many tips in the book, I don't have time to go through them, but there are several ways that parents can have fun. I want you, as you're listening to me, go back, think about when you were a child and if you used to have fun. What are some of the things you'd love to do, and how can you now apply that to the children that you're now raising? All right. The E in connect is empathize. And to empathize means to listen well enough to understand what a person is experiencing. It means entering your child's world without passing judgment. It means stepping into his or her shoes and seeing through their eyes. This takes effort. This takes practice, right? But many times we are trying to correct our children. We really don't understand what they're saying. We don't even listen well enough to hear or to see what the child is going through. A child who feels understood is more likely to respond to you than a child who feels that you're not interested in what they're saying. So some quick tips for empathy. When you're for active listening as you seek to empathize, make good eye contact with the child. All right? Look at the child when he or she is speaking to you. Focus. Look at them. Don't stare them down, but make eye contact. Paraphrase. Say what they said to you in another way to ensure that you understand. Reflect the feelings that they are giving to you. So you try to listen for feelings and thoughts and ask them if that's how they feel. And you also want to watch your body language. All right? Give the impression that you're really interested in what they're saying. If it is a young child, it would be good if you go down to their level, right? Stoop down, sit beside them, something to connect with them on their level. That really helps. All right? So we want to understand what the child is going through, and that will help you to connect. The next C in connect, create family traditions together. Family traditions are special times planned for family members to spend together. The possibilities are limitless, and so much bonding can take place through these traditions. And these traditions serve two purposes. It helps to bond, and it helps to give them an experience of warmth and acceptance and creates memories for them. All right? So, simple traditions like nightly prayer time, Bible study, weekly Bible study, family night, game night, mother daughter dates, father daughter dates, mother son days, Father Sundays, right? Christmas traditions, Thanksgiving, things like that. How do we celebrate birthdays, right? How do we spend our summer holidays? These are family traditions that can build connection. And the last T in connect is touch. The last T is touch. Now, with COVID going on and all of that, we have to be very careful with touch. But I'm still going to say this, moms and dads out there. Physical touch is a powerful way to deepen your bond with your child. Touch, and I'm not talking about inappropriate touching now, but touch as in hugs, high fives, a pat on the shoulder, a rub of the head. Depending on the age of the child, you have to know how to connect with them through this. Dads love to play wrestle with their sons. Even that is touch, right? It is very important that we show, or we send that message of love and connection through touch. Can I tell you, whether it is given to a baby, a toddler, a child, an adolescent, or an adult, a parent's hug still says a million words. There's just something about being hugged by your parent, right? So, connecting with your child is the foundation to a successful parenting relationship. As the child gets older, as the child gets more independent, if you don't have that connection from early, it's harder to get that connection later on. So I challenge you, if you have children, be deliberate, be intentional in spending time with the child, having conversations with them, allowing them to tell you what's going on, what is bothering them, how is the pandemic affecting them. Listen to them. Don't be a lecturer, be a parent. Your aim first is to understand where they are so that they can feel that connection that, yes, mommy understands, daddy understands. I am loved for who I am. I'm valuable enough that mommy and daddy would make time to sit with me. And so I want to end the same way I started. I started by saying, to be in your children's memories tomorrow, you have to be a part of their lives today. You have to. Connection does not happen by itself. It happens through deliberate, intentional actions by us as parents. And the second thought I shared was, correction before connection equals rebellion. Many of us are trying to correct our children, but we have no connection, and so the children rebel. They will respond to correction better when they are feeling a connection to the person who is correcting them. And so for this week, I challenge you, listen to these 7 tips and begin to implement them to build a strong connection, to fill your child's love cup, to put a foundation for success in your relationship with your children. Remember, children are gifts from the Lord. God bless you, and I'll see you next week.